there is a huge difference between what they teaches in the academia or university versus what a data engineer is doing in real life.
Hi everyone, hi Shresth and hi JS. So I'm Sudhanshu and will welcoming you all to this the Data C podcast. Now about our guest. So JS, could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So thanks for inviting me to this podcast. I'm super happy to be here. So I've got already like 5 years of experience in the data space. I started my career as a data analyst at Amazon, and then moved back to data engineering because I found it more oriented to programming and so on, and more SQL, Python, and so on. And now I'm working as a data engineer at Nestle, and I'm super happy to be in my job and here.
Okay,
What
that's
what was
great.
your role at Amazon?
So actually, I started in Amazon as a business analyst, but then I moved into business
Okay,
intelligence engineer, which is a role like it's between data analysis and data engineering. So I was both building the ATL pipelines and also building dashboards for business stakeholders.
Okay,
okay.
so
Is it similar to data engineering? I mean,
It
in the
is.
Amazon also.
So at Amazon they also have data engineers, of course, and it's similar
Yeah.
because for instance, at Amazon, there is one very special topic, which is to optimize Redshift clusters. And in that way, we were doing the same job as data engineers or business intelligence engineers, but they were more, for instance, they were doing more Python. And if you are a data engineer at Amazon, you are not building dashboards, for instance. And in my case, as a BIE, I was building actually a lot of them.
Okay.
okay, yeah. Let's talk about your education. Okay, and how you came up with this. That I should work on data science or data engineering field. So how it all started.
Okay, so this is a nice question because I started, so my background is industrial engineering, but I never work as an industrial engineering, let's say, per se, right? Because I got my first internship in a very small company here in Spain, and I was doing a lot of Excel and a lot of reporting in Excel. You can imagine all of these local files going back and
Right.
forward, and it was a bit crazy and a mess. But I was super happy because in there I get to know business intelligence. Because in my career I took some Python courses, some SQL courses, and so on, but I never saw the business intelligence in real life. Right? It was super interesting to see how my customers, where do we have the customers, where do they come from, why is it important to sell at the best price, also pricing strategies and all of this stuff that you don't see in the university and then you see in the real life scenarios, right? And then I decided that I
Right,
wanted
right.
to pursue a career more more tech instead of being industrial engineer. So I did my master's in data science and engineering.
Okay. So I
What was
also
that after
work.
the first job that you did masters?
So I got my internship as a the role it was like internship trainee or internship engineer. I don't remember. And after this, I started my master's to get into the fields and so on. Like it was like 5 years ago, something approx.
Okay. I
Okay.
also work as a business analyst. So could you explain what's
Okay.
the like what difference you have observed between a data analyst and a business analyst?
Okay, so this can vary bit across companies because I've seen
Right.
business analysts in some companies that they are really very tech specific. So they actually know their way, like they know a lot of SQL, they know how to do dashboards and so on. But as far from my point of view, a business analyst should be only in the business side. I mean, if he or she is able to build some dashboard, it's good, but she shouldn't be building pipelines or optimizing code or writing Python code or whatever, or doing ETLs, right? It should be more close to the business and work with them to know what's happening, why our sales are dropping, who was our best customer, and so on. Whereas a data analyst, you should be actually very good at your tech skills very should be better than the business analyst, right? Because you are probably working a lot with data engineers, data scientists to know what's going under the hood. And also you should, not, it's 100% required to build dashboards in Power BI, in Tableau, or whatever technology that you want to help, and then to have this business reviews with the people and so on. So as a business analyst, I would say that you are more to the right you are literally the last piece of the data if you can be considered in the data space. And data analyst, you are between the business analyst and the other data stakeholders, for instance, data engineers, data science, and so on.
Right. So for my company, the team is small. The data team is small. So,
Yeah.
like whatever you said that business analyst shouldn't do, I do.
Exactly. That's why
So
I mentioned that
yeah,
it's very important to know which company are you working on. For
right,
instance, here in Nestle, if you are a business analyst, you are not doing ETLs or you are not doing Python code. That I can tell you for sure.
right,
But if you work in a
right,
startup and you are a business analyst, but you don't have data engineers, you don't have data scientists or whatever, you are probably doing pipelines, you are probably doing machine learning forecasts, or basically
right,
wherever.
right,
Also, you are the data guy, so I will throw you everything to you. And I've seen that. And actually, if you are starting your career, big tech is really nice, but if you're starting your career, is it also good to work in a small company because you can see the whole data flow from
right.
the
The whole
sources to the
circle.
reports, and you learn from everything, right? So I believe that small companies are underrated in tech because we all dream to
Right.
work in Amazon, Google, Meta, Netflix, and they shouldn't be like this underrated, right? And the best thing that you can do is starting a startup or small company, and then you can move into big tech, and your profile will be super boosted. So
Was
Right.
Amazon your first job as a full-time employee?
it wasn't actually, because I didn't mention that I got my internship as an engineer trainee, and then I moved to a small size company as actually the role I remember it was laboratory analyst, and it was fine because I was working with
Okay.
my stakeholders were literally the laboratory technicians, right? And I was building for them graphs in Excel, reportings, and so on. And in there also, I believe that we were using HubSpot to also to track the customers and so on. It was also, as I mentioned, a very small company. We were like 40 people working in there. So basically, I was doing a bit of everything and even a bit of finance. The good thing about that company is that I was talking to the CEO. I was reporting the the finance dashboard to the
CEO.
CEO, right? Which this is something that it's more difficult to happen in Nestle or Amazon. I can tell you for sure.
Yep.
Right,
So,
right,
was
right.
that the start of your career? In 2021, is it?
2020, yeah. So
As far as I can see.
2020, I started my internship. 2021, my first full-time job, and 2022, I joined at Amazon. Yeah.
Okay. I can see you
Uh,
have mentioned on your LinkedIn that the colleagues are very amazing, and I'm very happy at Nestle.
Ye-
Why is that so?
Yeah, yeah. So this is actually, I mean, I don't want to speak bad for any company that I have worked for, but all the companies, this is not a secret. All the companies, they have good things and bad things, or not
Correct.
that good things, right? So,
Yep.
for example, here in Nestle, I can tell you that the best asset that we have is the people. They are super collaborative, super happy to help you if you ever encounter any problem, you don't have access to any data source, which, trust me, it happens quite a lot. And they always, yeah, no
Yes.
worries, I will get you through it. And also we have a lot of very good documentation, and the process is they go quite smooth and so on. So I'm actually, it's not a joke and it's not a lie. And I'm actually very happy that from working with my colleagues. You know, they are super chill. If something is not finished, is not ready to rush it, we can finish tomorrow and so on.
In case of work, like compared to Amazon and Nestle, so can you tell about the tech stacks you generally used, if you're comfortable, of course, and what
Okay.
do you like more in case of
Yeah.
working?
So so I have to say that at Amazon I wasn't that tech. So basically I wasn't a data engineer or SDE or whatever. Although I get to see which was our stack and so on. And of course, the main difference between the two is that at Amazon we were of course using AWS, and here in Nestle we are using Azure as a cloud provider. And
Okay,
in Nestle, we have
Okay.
everything, like it's everything in Microsoft. So we have Azure, we have Microsoft 365, we have GitHub Copilot, everything it's pairs perfectly. And honestly, I have to say that I like it. I like it a lot. I prefer Azure rather than AWS. And there's one thing that I like from Azure is that for me, and this is only my opinion, right? It's easier to learn because there are not that much services. Whereas when you are working at AWS, you will see that
right,
there are tons of services. I believe they have more than
tons of
300
services.
services. So, and at the end of the day, you were just, I was just using like Amazon S3 as a data lake,
Yeah.
AWS Glue to orchestration and so on, and then Redshift as a cloud data warehouse. And also for the visualizations, we are using AWS QuickSight, which is similar to Power BI, Tableau, and so on. So,
Okay,
and I already answered your question. This was my main stack: S3 buckets. Uh,
Maybe a
yeah,
follow-up question here.
yeah.
When we say we work on Azure as a data engineer, what are the cloud specific aspect of it? I mean, what all things related to DevOps does a data engineer actually uses in any project, maybe?
Okay, related with DevOps, I would say basically here for the CI/CD in Nestle we use Azure DevOps. You know, it integrates really well with the GitHub repositories that we have, and with Snowflake, with the pro environment, non-pro environment, and so on. And for DevOps, I know that other data engineers, for instance, they use a lot Docker, Kubernetes, and so on. It wasn't my case, to be honest. I know the basics of
Right.
Docker because there are the thing is what I have seen in my career, there are two types of data engineers. Ones they are more oriented to business intelligence, data modelers, and
right,
dashboard developers and so on, which would be more my case. And there are the other ones that they are more like a software engineer, so they really need to know
right,
Docker, Kubernetes, um, API request, and even they're working with maybe with the streaming data and so on, which this is also another hot topic that a lot of companies they want to have
Right.
streaming data and having the data as quick as possible, but then the majority of the times they want this to fit a weekly report, and then you say why these data stakeholders want this data freshness like to be daily or even in hourly or in minutes when you are building a weekly dashboard and you are using the dashboard just weekly, right? But yeah, so in terms
right.
of DevOps, honestly, I'm not the best guy. I work a lot with Azure DevOps here in Nestle, and also in by the way, between Amazon and Nestle, I've worked at Inditex. I don't know if you know Inditex, the company. It's the Spanish biggest retailer. It's the one that owns Zara,
Oh,
Massimo Dutti, Oysho, Pull&Bear,
oh,
all of these retailers. It's clothes.
Oh,
Yeah. So in
oh.
there, I was working as an external
Inditex,
consultant,
right?
as a data engineer. Yeah, Inditex,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Okay,
And in there, we also had the Azure setup.
Nice.
We're working a lot of with Azure DevOps and Snowflake also. So Yeah,
Okay.
I was
But then
mentioning.
I
Yeah.
have a question here. No,
No, no,
please
please go
continue.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, no, regarding this tech stack itself, so I can see you have done certifications in the last 2 to 3 years, but they are a bit different. So you have done Snowflake also, but you have done DBT also,
Yeah.
and then maybe some other also. Is that because you have to use them in the company, or you did just for the learning purposes, or was it actually required in your job?
Yeah, this is a really nice question. So it's both, and let me explain you why. So this Snowflake certification I got like 2 years ago, I believe. Yeah, two. I started to prepare like 2 to 3 years
Yes,
ago. I don't remember exactly.
23.
Okay. And the thing is that I wanted to become a data engineer, right? And by that point,
Right.
I was working as a business intelligence engineer. And then I saw, like, I was scrolling through the LinkedIn jobs, and there was a booming technology. It was Snowflake, and by that time, I have no 3 years ago, I had no idea about Snowflake, and I started to see a lot of job postings, data engineer, Snowflake, Snowflake, Snowflake. And then I went into YouTube. What is a Snowflake? Because I had to work with a lot with Redshift, but I didn't know about Snowflake. And after doing some exploration, I saw that okay, Snowflake is similar to Redshift, but it's better, right? Because I
Right.
mean, and everyone that has worked with Redshift and Snowflake, they will choose Snowflake because it's better. It can scale both independently the compute and the storage, whereas in Redshift
Right.
you have to scale. If you need more storage, you need to add another node, right? And with Snowflake it doesn't happen. Although Snowflake is still super expensive because all of these pay as you go services, they want to get the most of your money because under the excuse that they are managing everything for you, right? But yeah, so
Yes.
then I say, okay, I see a good opening here to become a Snowflake data engineer, which is basically what I'm still right now. So I prepare like a lot for the certification, for the Snow Pro core certification, and after 6 months
Right.
studying like 2 to 3 hours per week, I got certified in Snowflake. And I still enjoying Snowflake. It's a really, for me, it's the best cloud data platform. It has everything that you need to know at enterprise level. So you want to do machine learning, you want to do machine business intelligence, you want to do you can do basically whatever you want. It's expensive, but it's very powerful. It has the connector that it has with, I don't know, for instance, Salesforce, Fivetran. It connects to SAP super easily, just plug and play. It's not it's super easy to integrate different sources in Snowflake. And the fact that it's easy to integrate at corporate, and that companies, they are super difficult to manage, it gives you in basically you have all the company within Snowflake. You have every data mart, finance, marketing, whatever you can think, you have in there. So at least you can do some data governance over there in your process from the beginning to from the start to the end of the data cycle, right? And yeah, so I got certified. Sorry,
Right.
I'm speaking too much. I got certified
Yeah, yeah,
in
it's fine.
No,
yeah,
no
okay,
worries. Yeah.
okay. So I got certified in Snowflake, and this certification, a lot of people ask, is our certification worth it? I always say it depends. So basically,
Right.
if you are a fresher and you have no experience, and you are applying to internships or junior roles, I believe that these certificates can make you stand out from the rest of the competitors. Uh, but if you are a seasoned data engineer, if certifications are not worth at all, but yes, if you want to learn more. So, for instance, right now I'm studying for the Azure Data Engineer certification, just because there are some services that I never worked prior in my career before joining Nestle. For instance, I'm learning a lot of Azure Data Factory, which I didn't know in the past. It's similar to
Okay.
AWS Glue, but yeah. And then yeah, so regarding the DBT
Yeah.
certification, it's required because here we work with Snowflake and to do all the transformations across our layers in the Medallion architecture, we use DBT to transform all of this data. So we need to know DBT, and I never worked with DBT in the past, so I had to take it.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah. So have you have you worked with Azure Data Factory earlier, or you are still exploring that?
So it's my first time working with ADF. Never worked in the past, and I'm basically learning by doing in the test environment. Just I have to develop a project that
right.
uses ADF to connect to SharePoint and then move that to into Snowflake, and I'm struggling a bit. But I have to say that I really like ADF for the. I mean, I've worked only for 1 month with ADF, and I really have to say only good opinions from the service. It's really nice, easy to
I
use,
think
and so on.
In case of like complexity, Azure is great because the learning is easy, and then there's Microsoft Learn. You can directly experiment. There are well written blocks and all.
think I didn't even started with Azure Data Factory. I started working on Microsoft Fabric, and then while I was learning Microsoft Fabric, I found that it is basically integration of all the existing Azure services
Yeah,
into a single platform.
yeah.
So that's how I got introduced to ADF, and then I started building some projects. Now, when I started, I was still thinking about from a fresher's perspective, how
Mhm.
would someone prepare for a data engineering project? Because that's a bit weird to prepare something out of box data factory pipelines, something, right? How would a data engineering project look like? Because you can see, for example, for data analysts, they say get some data, do some analysis, build EDA, build dashboards. That's something what data analyst or business analyst might do. But
Yeah.
when it comes to data engineering projects, what would that look like? I'm not sure.
Okay. So um, two things here before we move into this question. You mentioned this product, the Microsoft Fabric, and I heard only
Yes,
terrible things about Fabric. I don't know I never tested it. I only heard about terrible things like
I
it's
I've
Yeah.
spent my last 1.5 year working on Fabric, and
okay.
I've written around 50 to 60 blocks on bugs and issues and some suggestion.
Yeah, I can
In fact, I
imagine.
have given feedback to the team itself. Yeah,
Uh,
to the Microsoft team. I've shared multiple feedback to them, but it's good because at least it's good for me. It's a new tool that
mm,
integrates all the Azure services,
yeah.
so I get to learn all of these things together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is that my opinion is whenever Microsoft launches a new product, it's completely bullshit. But then they try to improve they improve the product until it gets good, or at least until it reaches a decent level of
Exactly.
to be workable at least.
Right.
So yeah. By the way, my sister, she's studying data engineering. She's on the third
Okay.
course, and
Okay.
I can tell you that basically she's doing a bachelor's in data engineering, but there is there is a huge difference between what they teaches in the academia or university versus what a data engineer is doing in real life.
Do we have a degree in data engineering? I'm not sure. I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
So in Spain we
in
have,
okay, in India we have bachelors of technology, and
yeah,
then all the like terms come around bachelor of technology, AI
Yeah.
in DS, or
So
we
it's
have right
generally
now
specialization in
a
computer science, right?
specialization. It's a part of CS degree, computer science degree, so you can get a specialization in AI and DS because, or ML and DS,
okay.
because these are most marketable terms right now. I am hearing this first time that someone is doing bachelor's in data engineering. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it was the same for me when she started to learn data engineering in the bachelor's, and she told me, hey, I'm joining data engineer bachelor's. I was saying like, what the hell, it wasn't available when I was studying, otherwise I would have chosen it. Great. So with that said, um how would I prepare if I'm a fresher data engineer project? So the first thing is try to collect data, collect real data. because for me it wouldn't make sense to go to Kaggle and dump a Kaggle data set into a Snowflake, because normally this data is standardized already. It has no duplicates, no nulls, no whatever, and this is not happening in real life. Let's be honest. So
Yep.
this is a really nice project that I actually implemented in my as a side project like 3 or 4 years ago. That is, consume any API that you want. For instance, if you like, I don't know, football or soccer or NBA or whatever, consume this API, and then you can go to the, I don't know, if imagine that, let's talk about NBA, right? If it has an API, you consume the NBA API, sorry, with these acronyms, and you can dump
Right.
this data into, for instance, into a CSV. That's a first step, because you are building some API request with Python, maybe in a code repository, and you are making API requests. So you have to know get request, post request, how to consume an API, how to build a Python function, and then you can start learning about best practices, how to make your code reusable, and so on. That would be the first step. That would be like level one data engineer project. Yeah, just in local, you make an API
Exactly.
request and CSV. Great. If you want to move forward, you can take this CSV and upload, instead of locally, you upload this to a blob storage in Azure or AWS S3, right? And then
Right.
once this is, you can create a little data lake where you can store your files in a directories with the timestamps and even the categories or whatever, and then you can move upon triggering a notification that moves this CSV into a, let's say, into, for instance, into a Snowflake or into the first layer of a Snowflake or Redshift or whatever. That would be the second stage, to in the cloud. And then the third stage is to move this into a Medallion architecture, for instance, and do some transformations there to
Yep.
clean the data and so on, move it from bronze to silver to gold. And then from gold, this would be the layer
Yeah.
that the power, it will probably, you can create a view on top of it. So then the Power BI can read from that view, and then you visualize the data, and then you can do that in real
Okay.
time, and so on. I don't know. It is just a project that it came to my mind, to practice.
Yeah. When we talk about medallion architecture, so can you please explain this? What is this medallion architecture?
Okay, so I mean, in the ideal world, everyone should be respecting all the layers of the Medallion architecture. So as far as I know, and the concept is, you have the first stage of the Medallion architecture, which is the bronze layer, which is basically
Yep.
the 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 raw data. For instance, it could be this data lake where you are dumping all of this CSV information in there. It's not cleaned, it's not standardized. It's basically, it has, maybe doesn't even have CI/CD schema enforcement or whatever. Just dumping data in there. Then you move into the silver layer where you are applying these transformations about, I don't know, data cleaning, like removing duplicates,
Yeah.
knowing what to do with these nulls and so on. And then you move into the final layer, which you normally apply the business, every, let's say, every category, not category, every department of your company. So for instance, you create a data set for finance and only finance people consume it. You create a data set for marketing and only data marketing consume. This is the ideal world, right? Most of the times what happens is you have the landing zone, which is the bronze layer, and on top of it you created some data sets for the people, because in big companies, they want to iterate as fast as possible, and following all of these Medallion architecture best practices. I've never seen anyone following them at 100%, to be honest.
Yeah, a follow-up question related to your medallion architecture. Yeah, let's say I've worked on Fabric and I know how we do it on Fabric here.
Okay.
But when it comes to Snowflake, how do we divide them? I mean, what do we call a bronze layer and a silver layer in Snowflake? I have zero idea about Snowflake. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically in a Snowflake you will also have the same bronze, silver, and gold layers. Actually, in other companies that I work, instead of saying gold, silver, and so on, they are like
Yeah,
S1, S2, S3, right? So
right.
I mean, the main, let's say, why are you doing medallion
M-
architecture is to have this lineage of how the data is moving and from where is coming from, right? Because then it's
exactly.
easy, it's more easy to do this data quality, or if there is a bug, you know, okay, so the bug is from this layer to this layer. Otherwise, it's just it's not it's just a mess, just data from there, and you can't leverage the data. And a lot of companies, what I see, this trend is like they invest a lot in data tools. So, for instance, let's get the biggest Snowflake virtual warehouse. Let's get Databricks. Let's get DBT on top of it. Let's get Fivetran and all of this, but they don't have the fundamentals of how to proper do data modeling, for instance, or how to move the data across the multiple layers of your architecture. And they don't implement data quality, they don't have lineage, they don't have documentation. And then the problem is they comes the CEO and says, I'm spending 1 million per month in data and I'm not getting good any result from that. Why is it that happening? And it's because the data governance it's not existing at some point. And that's why I always insist on get the fundamentals right. And even instead of
Yeah.
chasing the latest AI tool or whatever, focus on getting these fundamentals that can give you to have a proper structure about your data, know your data, and then you can do AI, LLMs, rack techniques, or whatever. But without this proper foundation, you are not going anywhere.
Right. Right.
I was writing a blog today about how data engineers use AI. What do you think?
Okay.
Is there any real world usage of AI in data engineering other than writing
Yes.
Python code?
Okay. Yes, I would say.
Okay.
Um, so, for instance, there is one hot topic right now, which is the text to SQL. That you basically what you are doing is instead
Yes,
of writing your query, you go to your Snowflake and say, "Hey, Snowflake, I don't know. I want to know which is our customer satisfaction ratio, or how many clicks are we getting in this web page by this week, right? So if you did your proper data governance and proper documentation, you can actually apply this text to SQL to your Snowflake queries, and you don't have to. In ideal scenario, you don't have to write any more queries. But what happens is companies, they are not documenting the databases or whatever, and you get poor results from there. And that would be one hot topic, text to SQL for sure. And then what I really like as a data engineer are the vector databases, which are storing, if
yes,
you're familiar with this. So basically they are storing common similar words together. So for instance, let's say imagine a three-dimensional space where you have the dog, cat, and rabbit together because they are animals, and then you have table, chair together because they are furnitures, and so on. So this also it's very important. And then you can apply these rack techniques to, it's super quick. Sometimes it's quicker than a normal database, and you can do a lot of things with that. And yeah, I would say
do
this.
you think
Yeah.
is it the job of AI engineer or a data engineer?
Good question. I mean, it depends on the company. If you can have a separated AI engineer to do vector databases, he should be the one responsible. But if you don't, you should instruct your data engineers to know vector databases and so on. But for the text to
Yeah.
SQL, I believe it should be a I mean, a shared job, because the data engineer knows the sources and the AI engineer knows how to implement the LLMs into the sources. So
Exactly. Yep. I was scrolling LinkedIn a few days back, and I found a course where this guy was teaching big data engineering.
Okay.
Do you call yourself
Big
a
data
data
engineering.
engineer or a big data engineer?
I mean, to be honest, the I don't know who did that course, but in my opinion, there is nothing like big data engineer. So so a big data engineer is a data engineer that works with big data, right? Yeah, maybe I can imagine that he is focusing on query optimization and how to do proper database management to don't have bottlenecks and so on. And it can be, yes. So I have to say one thing, and I've never worked with amount of data higher than terabytes, right? I've not never worked with petabytes or whatever. Normally I work with small tables, gigabytes of data, I mean, they are
Right,
big
right.
enough that
Right.
you cannot open them in Excel, but
You you
they are
you
not big
cannot
data.
open yeah, you cannot open
Yeah.
more than 20 MB file in Excel. That's dangerous.
Oh yeah, it is. But you have no idea what I have seen
Right,
people do in Excel, man. It's crazy. But it's another whole topic, Excel, and
right,
it's
right.
not going anywhere. I mean, it depends on
Hey,
the company, but
I have like we all would have been hearing that software engineering is that, data engineering is that, data analyst
yeah,
is that, data science. Like last 2 weeks ago, I heard that data science is that. You will never hear anyone say Excel is dead. Never ever.
yeah, exactly. Never. I mean, I imagine it's 150 years. The cars are flying. These Tesla cars, robot cars, they are flying, and we're still doing the business stakeholder. Hey, I have this Excel. Can you do some transformation here and send it to your colleague, please? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But still, I mean,
yeah,
Excel is underrated and overrated. So what I believe about Excel, it's underrated in when you need to do some quick analysis of your data, and if it's the data set is small, it's the best tool because it's quick and it's easy to use and easy to share across people. You don't need any database, you just need your dataset and play with it, right? But is
right.
overrated in the way that most companies they are using Excel, like as a database or as a reporting tool, and that's it. But yeah,
Yeah. It doesn't matter
The
whatever
reason I
tool
asked
you are
this
using.
big,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay. It doesn't matter whatever tool you are using, whatever however technically strong that tool is. At the end, for the upper level, for the management level, you have to send them an Excel file or a PDF file, concluding all the
yeah,
reports and all the
exactly.
summary
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it doesn't. Yeah, I really like what you said about this. You can have Snowflake, Databricks on top of in your left process, but at the end, everything will end in an Excel file, final version to the CEO, and he will have a look into that. Or PPT files or PDF. Yeah, these three they are the three top ones reporting for the business stakeholder. Yeah, I know. And but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is the corporate world.
Right.
exactly. What is this the data path that you have started?
Oh, the my newsletter. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so thanks for mentioning this, and thanks for knowing that I am building this and writing this. So this is more to be 100% honest with you. The newsletter is not giving me much engagement too because I do a random post and I get maybe 1,000 likes, and then I write my newsletter,
Right.
which it takes me like to write for maybe at least 2 to 3 hours because you have to, research the topic, then write the
Yes.
topic, then refactor the topic to make it easy to understand and easy to follow up and so on. And but I started this because I want to be the data path something like a data product. Actually, this newsletter, I want to be the thing that I would like to have once I was 5 years ago starting my data career, because it's takes difficult concepts from real world scenarios and puts it into as a fresher can understand. And this is why I call it the data path.
Yes,
So
I have also started my own publication. It's called Useless AI,
Okay. Oh, okay.
where
Have
I
to check it.
share. It's called uselessai.in. So website is uselessai.in, where
Okay.
we keep sharing some Microsoft Fabric blocks,
Okay.
but not entirely. Yeah.
Okay.
so it
This is
says
hosted
Medium blog.
on Medium. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Related to job hopping question, how did you land at Nestle?
Yeah. So I got a LinkedIn message from a recruiter. No, actually not from a recruiter. It was it was someone that actually works with me in the same, not in the same team, but in the same vertical, let's say. And he told me that they were looking for a senior data engineer, 7 years of experience, with experience in Snowflake and so on. And I was like, by that moment I was rejected by Glovo, by Uber Eats, by what else company, Allianz, by which other company they rejected, Dow Jones. I was super sad because I faced a lot of rejection. And once I get this offer, this interview, I was say, okay, this is just another offer that they will decline, and they will reject me. But still, I went into so I got this LinkedIn message, and yeah, so in the first round of with the HR, I saw that the interviewer, he was really kind with me, and I was like, okay, maybe here is my place, and that was it. I got my HR, then I got my technical interview, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, talking about Snowflake, cloud deployments, and everything of this. And then I got my hiring managing interview, and then I got the offer. It was super interesting. So I didn't call apply. I received the message on LinkedIn, and that's why I always tell people that nowadays your LinkedIn profile is super important, to have it updated, to have it, like good to see. And you need to have a good profile photo. You need to have a good banner in your profile. Even if you have to pay, like, I don't know, 20, 30 euros to get a profile photo, just do it. It's an investment. So this is how I landed my job at Nestle, and I'm so happy because it's the place that I want to be right now. So doing data engineering in a big company with good people, it's basically everything that I need to be happy.
What do you see as a work life balance, right? You also wrote that you have got good colleagues and this is a good company. So when we talk about work life balance, right, it's a kind of burning topic. Okay, people, some during COVID, everyone was having work from home. Things were going smooth and all. Then the layoffs started. The companies started to ask
Yeah.
employees to come to office or just leave. So, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on this? Yeah,
Yeah. So what I always tell people that work is not your life, and you have to work to sustain your life, not basically not your life to be the work, right? So
right.
we only live
Yeah.
once, YOLO, and
Yeah,
we are not meant as humans to spend 70, 80 hours per week within an office, right? I don't know if you have
right.
heard the news, but principal engineer at Microsoft, he died because overwork. So he was, I don't know if you heard it, but it's super sad. And I'm I'm not a manager yet. I wish someday I become one. But I always tell my team, that there is life outside work, and if you can't finish this task today, don't do overwork. I mean,
Right.
and to be honest, I've been I'm super grateful, because I don't remember many days and me staying until 9 p.m. or even debugging something at 3 a.m. or whatever. Work life balance is a super huge topic here in Nestle. We try to preserve to everyone that has the time to, to see the family and enjoy the rest of the day. I know other companies this is not like this, and it's a shame, but I think that we are evolving
Right. Yeah.
into a world that it's more focused on work-life balance and so on.
Right, right. Because from the starting of the career, like when you are getting into your bachelor's, when you are starting your college, so those days basically everyone was trying to say, or everyone is trying to say that hustle. This is the hustle culture for like which started 5 6 years ago. This term hustle culture. So everyone is
Yeah.
trying to like hustle a more, work a more. So for the beginning, it's good that you are hustling, you want to get something, you are studying a lot, you are studying late nights, you are applying, you are building projects, building websites. But as you, that is good for 1 year or 2 year, but I guess after 2 years 3 years, and when you get into the work, because then you have to work completely, you are cut with the outside world, and then you go home and then you are working again. Then I guess after two
Mm.
three years you are going to burn out, and you will start hate your life. Doesn't matter how much good it is or how much bad it is, you are going to hate
Exactly.
it, and then you will think that corporate is not for me or something like that.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
I was
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
reading that you worked on AI project as a data engineer. Was that a different task in itself, working on an AI project as a data engineer than a non-AI project? Was that different or not? I mean, if yes, then how exactly?
Yeah, so this is interesting because I worked for 5 months into a company which was AAG,
IAG, yeah.
which, yeah, so basically it's a company that that owns Vueling, Iberia, and so on. These are flying companies and aerospace companies, and we were working on a project which was super interesting, which was to optimize the frequency of the engines to visit the workshop, right? And it was super nice. But basically, in there, I wasn't working as a data engineer. I mean, the title was a data engineer, but I was working more as a backend developer. So basically, it was doing a lot of API requests and to feed. That was we had like a web app that our stakeholders were filling, and we were collecting this data to feed into our AI model. But I wasn't touching anything about AI because we had data scientists that are very specialized on working with AI models and so on. So this was a dark past of me working as a backend developer. I was doing a lot of Python, only Python, and only, you know, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's nice to change because most of my work over the last five years has been on SQL and not that much in Python. So in that 5 months, I really went into learning Python good in production and produce modernized code and so on. So it was nice to have this side project and to see what's going on after you leave the SQL world, let's say. So if
Yeah.
you can only choose a language to work for the rest of your life, and it's between SQL and Python, which one are you choosing?
Python,
That that's
for
a tough
sure.
question.
Yeah.
But
100%
I
Python,
I
because I can do more in Python.
yeah,
Yes,
I will
Raju.
also want to go with Python, because at the end that's give you much more opportunities to work with other things other than like with databases. So basically getting the reports and get playing with the data. So yeah, definitely it's Python, because at then Python
Yeah,
is more a general purpose language. SQL is just a database query language. So yeah, I guess that's a no brainer.
I think a very interesting thing I observed that I was working on a project recently where I had to work on PySpark queries. Right now, PySpark is a bit similar to Pandas here,
yeah,
but whenever we have to query the table here, what I used to do was that I used to write SQL queries in Spark.SQL function as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Spark
instead of
SQL. Yeah,
writing in Python, instead of writing in Python or PySpark, I choose the outer template as PySpark, but I write SQL queries in the code.
We are more familiar with thinking about SQL queries when it comes to data and working with data, as compared
yeah.
to pandas. Now, if you are from the beginning, if you are working with pandas, you would always prefer to work with pandas numpy for like data manipulation and all. But if you have worked with SQL and from the initial days, then it's easy to just write a SQL query. Why I have to like go and see, and then we have to figure out, okay, if we can write this in SQL, let's just search how to write it in pandas, or give me a pandas code for that.
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah. So uh, I 90% of the people they prefer Python because it gives you more flexibility. And basically, with Python, you can build everything you want. You want to do AI, you do Python. You want to do web applications, yes, it's
Exactly.
you can do Python. You can do also JavaScript, but you can do with Python. You want to do an ETL
Yes.
custom, and yeah, so Python is really good to this flexibility. Whereas with SQL, it's underrated because most of the job you can do with SQL if you're working only with tables and databases, right? And this is something that a lot of people they say me, hey, I know SQL already. I want to jump on in Python. And I say, okay, you know SQL already? And I tell them, okay, what is the difference between rank and dense rank? And they say, oh, I don't know. I don't know window functions. And I say, then you don't know SQL. You just know
You don't know
how to
SQL.
write easy queries. And also other thing that people don't mention that SQL is not only a query language because you can create databases, you can create tables, you can drop tables with SQL, pure SQL, right? So it's not only for data manipulation and queries, it has a lot of things. And then if you go into the world of query optimization, I can tell you that there is another universe to learn. So yes, Python is more flexible, and indeed, I would prefer also to only work with Python if I only can choose one. But SQL sometimes it's underrated. And when you are writing SQL code for a big company, you will see that people takes it super seriously when the code goes in production. It's not taken as per granted. So you have to be actually good at coding to be a good SQL coder.
I remember I was once giving an interview in 2023 maybe,
Hmm.
where the interview asked that how would you rate yourself in SQL out of 5? And I proudly mentioned that maybe 4 or 4.5 maybe, because at least at that time I was doing some courses and I thought, yeah, I know it all.
Yeah,
And then the moment she started asking questions, I thought that's not what I studied, that's a bit
yeah,
different question. And
yeah.
I failed miserably in that interview. After that I came back home. That was a walk-in interview, and I had to sit in that office in front of her to write those queries.
Oh,
But now when I see this in 2025, do you think interviews will get changed a bit? Because now I believe AI tools are decent enough to write all
hmm.
types of SQL
Yeah,
queries.
yeah.
Do you think ways maybe in the interviews will be allowed to use AI tools?
So what I know that is happening in the US, which is the market that I always focus because they are the pioneers at everything. And I know that, for instance, at Meta, they are not doing any more lead code. And what they are doing is they are giving you a problem and they are giving you the LLMs that they use for Llama or whatever, and they are telling you write the best prompt to achieve the problem, and then refine the prompt to achieve a better result. This is one because I had recently a friend that interviewed for Meta in Seattle. No, I don't know, in Seattle. I don't know, in the US. I don't know where, but
Okay.
he was surprised because it was no lead code and it was more like prompt engineering, right? So, and yes, you are totally right.
Exactly.
For AI, is really good to write SQL queries, but anyways, you still need to know the basics and why the AI is doing this in order to give better prompting. So, yeah.
Right. Right.
That that means we will be spending more time on writing prompts than queries in future.
Yes,
Uh,
so we will spend more time on debugging the AI outputs, I believe, with something that is happening already. And I'm sure that you have seen all of these memes that they are saying, no, but please give me the right solution, not this bullshit, to the AI. And
right.
so on.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
yeah,
I'll lose my job. Please help.
yeah, for instance, yeah, yeah,
Please, please give me.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, when it comes to like writing SQL queries for basics, it's good. But once you continue the chat, it starts giving you very BS kind of
Yeah,
results. So I
yeah,
don't think it's still some time that we can get good SQL code from AI. But yeah, for other things,
No,
it's
I
doing the
think
job. Uh, what exactly like differentiate when it comes to interviews and all? Like I will give example of mine that after completing my internship I was going for the full time uh, in the
hmm,
other team. Okay, so
okay,
what they exactly asked me, I did not fail in like Python, SQL, okay, or Power BI. I failed in basically when they start asking me the business implementation, or how you actually like see the problems in your current team and how you actually like come up with solutions. So I was very confident that okay, I know all the tools, I'm good with theoretical part, I'm good with practical part. But when it comes to
hmm,
business cost questions, so I started like for the last year, before my current switch, I gave 6 interviews. Okay, so six
okay,
out of three interviews I cleared. Like on the technical rounds, I was very good, but
hmm,
when it came to business problems, so I was failing miserably. And I guess that's one thing that okay, right now everyone has tools, everyone can learn basics, everyone is good with the technical things. But until unless you don't work on your business side, until unless you cannot actually work with explaining the solutions, it
yeah.
becomes tough. So I guess that's one part that you can still focus on.
Exactly. So I think that there is a misconception of data professionals, especially the ones that they have not been in the field for more than, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, that they think that the only
Right.
thing that matters if you are good at writing SQL or good at writing Python and get the job done. And the job of a data professional doesn't end, it's not ending in that part. You also need to know what the business stakeholders is asking you, because it is a fun fact here that sometimes they don't even know what they want, and you have to guide them and try to
Right.
see. So maybe what they want is this, and then you mention him and they say yes, this is, thank you, Jose. So that is that is so putting yourself in their
Right.
shoes is a really big point, because they are also having a lot of problems and they can't be everywhere, right? So they know they more or less how the solution would look like, but they are not 100% aware. And besides, they don't know, normally they don't know about any technology like SQL or Python. So you have to be able to have a really good communication with them, especially in setting the expectations, because they think that you can build everything and at the moment, so for them, building a data pipeline that consumes data from multiple sources in real time is like going to the supermarket and buying some bread and coming back home, and that's it, and it takes time. So you have to always, there is no need that you explain them, oh, we need this. I mean, this pipeline will take 3 to 4 days because we have to investigate the sources, we have to optimize them, the performance, and so on. Just try to make them sure that it might take sometimes because there's underlying processes that they don't really need to know that's going under the hood, right? So in that way, if you lower
Right.
the expectations, you will have better feedback. Because if you and also if you commit to deliver this product in 2 weeks, make sure that you give some like buffer to deliver that. If you estimate that it will take 2 weeks, give always 3 weeks, because this relationship between your stakeholders is super important to build trust.
How do you
Yes.
actually deal with bottlenecks when it comes to like in the beginning you see a problem, someone comes with a requirement, and you go through all this, you have a meeting, you take up that okay, I can do all of this, it will get done, you get a timeline, but when almost 95 or 95% of the work is done, and then you see suddenly there's one requirement is still remaining, and then you go to it, the data is not there, or the complete business process for that thing, basically to collect the data or to get the requirements, that is not there, non-existing, or there are like multiple stakeholders, you need to talk to multiple people, and they all have different answers that this can be done in this way, this can be done in this way.
Yeah.
So how you actually deal with this?
Yeah, so first thing, if this happens, that you go to a stakeholder and it says it has to be done this way or it's stored here, and then you go to another stakeholder and says the opposite, first thing, you try to take the things easy and try to break down the problems in small pieces to see, maybe I cannot access this database, but I can access the other one and I can leverage the data from there, right? So always try to do not try to advance. One thing that I learned at Amazon, it was you need to advance, and perfect, the data will never be perfect. So good enough, it's 100 times better than perfection, because perfection, one,
Right.
is utopic, and second, it will never happen. So try to
Right.
advance, and sometimes if you have 70% of your data or even 80%, they can already start do some work. And with what I mean with this is, imagine that you are working on a report for a company that has a lot of brands. Okay, I don't mention the company, but you can say Nestle, right? And you have to
Okay.
build a dashboard to show which are the best performing brands, more that they have sell more SKUs, more in which areas they
Right.
are selling, and so on. And to access the databases, you only can access 80% of them, right? So imagine one brand, two brands you can, but for the third you cannot. So it wouldn't make sense to me to say, hey, I can't access this third database until I don't deliver this data product, because my data stakeholders, they are waiting for my data, right? So I will tell them, hey, the third database for this brand is still not available, but I'm building this project. Please be aware that the data is not is there's some data missing, but you can start working with this data, so you don't have any bottleneck, right? And once we have access to this
Right.
the third database, we will add it. So that would be my way of
Right.
thinking always.